Ladies, gentlemen, and destined ones of all ages, it's been nearly a week since the release of Black Myth Wukong, and among those of us playing and enjoying the game, one of the most intriguing parts is just how deep the exploration has actually turned out to be. The sheer amount of optional or missable parts of this game that actually matter, secret areas around every corner, as well as equipment or bosses that you could easily just walk past. We've done videos recently covering the first two chapters in depth, and today we're going to talk about Chapter 3, with the caveat that we won't cover literally everything, just the things that I deem particularly relevant or important, things like stat upgrades, optional bosses, equipment, bonus skill points, that type of stuff. We'll also go in progression order so you can stop early if we pass where you happen to be at, starting in the Pagoda realm, as that's where we left off last time. We'll do this whole, quite lengthy Chapter 3, which is where the game really starts to branch out even further into more and more ridiculous optional paths and goodies. Starting off then, in the Pagoda realm, there is a special effect that happens on a timer. When this triggers, the saturation of your screen will change, and you, as well as all living things around, will gain a glowing red eye effect, indicating that not only they, but also you, do more damage while this is active. As well, while this is happening, your maximum health will be drained and lowered, so it's quite a dangerous time. But during this, a new enemy type is visible in the whole area, the sort of long neck eye stalk lantern guys. You can only see them in this state, and you can only kill them when you can see them. And while most of them are pretty unmissable along the main path, we will point out the final one that's a bit hidden later on. This is just to say that you do want to kill all of these lantern guys that you come across here in this level if you want to find all the secrets. They are on every one of the ledges on the outer edges of this pagoda path, and killing all of them actually gives its own reward if you do. This strange debuff world state happens every 3 minutes and lasts for around 90 seconds each time, and it will stop happening if you kill the main boss at the top of the pagoda area in the Mani Wheel. In other words, you can only actually kill these enemies and unlock the secret item that you get for it before you've killed the main boss. Unfortunately, I killed it personally before I found out, but I can still share this with you as a concept to try and help others not make the same mistake. That said, as you progress through the lower pagoda area in the first area past the shrine, the door with the lantern is the way to go up, but instead of doing that, continue on or just past this all the way to the end, where you will find a little golden chest with the fine china tea bowl curio. This has the simple but powerful effect of increasing your stamina recovery rate, moving upwards when you reach the upper pagoda shrine. Up here, directly left of this and down into a hole in front of this, is the optional missable boss, who is actually extremely important to kill, Captain Lotus Vision. On death, two main things happen here. You will drop the Frost Sprouts Twig Curio, which gives you chill resistance when equipped, and you dispel all of the purple barriers on the cells throughout the Pagoda Realm prison as well. You know, it's just a little bonus. Most of these just contain things like minor chests with some basic materials, but there's one particularly important one, literally the cell beside where you first spawned into the area, right near the first shrine on the first level of the Pagoda area. Kick this cell open now that there's no purple seal on it, and inside there are two major things of note. The first may have been rude to call a thing because it is a friendly NPC. Talk to him and he'll ask you to retrieve the souls of his 4 corrupted captains. The first one you have already gotten from the boss that unlocked this cell to begin with. 2 of them are from mandatory bosses that you will fight later in the chapter no matter what, who both have captain at the start of their name, so you'll know when you find them. The final captain is an optional thing, but we will point that out when we get to it later in the actual progression of the chapter. Beside this captain, however, within the cell, there can also be something else, but it needs you to do another interaction. Specifically back in Chapter 2, you can still do this now actually, head back to the Sandgate Village entrance shrine, and then all the way a nice long walk out in the back right of the area is this house here with a stone in the door, but a friendly NPC inside of it that you can interact with. You must have killed both of the 2-headed rat enemies in the area first, but then they will actually talk to you, and they'll tell you about the 3rd rat prince, because there are 3 of them. Once their dialogue is exhausted, head back to that same prison cell, which now will have a dead body in it with a sword impaled on it. If you walk up to it, you can interact with the sword to pull it out and gain a brand new transformation spell, Ashen Slumber, turning you into one of the 2-headed rat captain enemies. If you have completed the side quest for the prisoner in the cell before the rat village conversation though, this actually will not happen, but there is another way to trigger it elsewhere in the level. So continue up the main path from the lower pagoda shrine. Head up the first set of stairs near the end, and on the second floor, head all the way to the end through the tunnel. Don't go up the ramp this time, and you'll have a cutscene play to spawn a bonus optional boss in his own right, this rat prince. The fight was directed by Michael Bay, so watch out for explosions in small spaces, but once you defeat him, the reward is the same as the other way of finding him, which is this transformation spell. The spell itself is really quite neat. You turn into the 3rd prince, you retain any focus built up before transforming, your light attack is a 3-hit combo with the weapon, your heavy attack can be held to fire a flamethrower breath forwards that uses your focus points, and the inherent spell just makes you explode, doing massive area damage, and also ending the transformation. After that, the next major line of stuff is up at the Mani Wheel Shrine. This is right before the main boss of the area, but don't do that quite yet. Instead, turn around and head to the full opposite edge of the cliff line on this platform to find a difficult enemy that you don't have to kill. From here you can actually drop down to a sort of secret area on the back through this ledge, and along the path there will be a blue glowing enemy at the end who drops the Blade Monk Spirit on defeat. This does a 3-hit combo on activation, with the passive equip effect being a decent attack increase after defeating an enemy. So it's decent for level clearing, but not really for bosses outside of specific exceptions. Right behind where this enemy was as well is a glowing vase, and if you break it open, you get an awakened wine worm for healing gourd upgrading purposes. And then as well, if you hit the saturation lacking mode up here, if you hit that timer while you're in this specific area, and again this happens every few minutes automatically, there will be one more of the lantern guais right here on this hidden ledge. If you kill them and have killed all of the other lantern guais, you will get the auspicious lantern curio. This activates the chant beguiled effect, which is the official name of the effect of this area, when you enter cloud step. This means that it decreases your maximum health, but increases your attack a fair amount. You can then of course pair this with a cloud step big hit setup to do even more damage in your big singular whacks, but worth noting, while your max health does go back up after this ends as an effect, you do still have to heal the actual raw HP points anyway, so its use is definitely high risk, high reward. Moving on then, we have one more thing within this section of the map, this one from the Snow-Veiled Trail Shrine a bit further along the main path of the zone. From here there are two ways forward. Left up these stone steps is the main path, but you can instead turn right and follow a rickety bridge. Follow this path to its natural endpoint, and up the hill as you approach, you will see a massive pagoda in the distance with a big foggy wall on the ground level that you can actually interact with. If you do, you will enter an area known as the Great Pagoda. You can't actually do anything here until near the end of the game, but having this shrine spot is very important to do. For those who do want to know how to actually do stuff in here, basically you need to find and complete the areas labeled as secret within each chapter, these special bonus boss zones in chapter 1, 2, 4, and 5, because there isn't one for chapter 3. Once you do so, you should come back here once again because some things will happen. With this then, we move on to the next area, and technically it's actually Turtle Island, which has a shrine, and the only main story stuff that happens here is a boss fight you are thrown into before even being shown the shrine, and then after the fight you are immediately told to head up to the, well, head of the turtle. If you do that, you'll miss out on a few goodies that are here. First up, back at the shrine, which is near the rear of the turtle, just back from the boss fight from here and right as well towards the end of the turtle to find a dragon statue, or at least it looks like one. If you have the Luang Scales, key item from chapter 2, which I've explained how to get frequently enough at this point that you should just check out previous secret videos if you don't know, but if you have this, the statue will come to life and turn into a boss, the Cyan Luang. I would rather let you experience the fight properly for yourself, but so you know the rewards, this gives you the Breath of Fire Gourd Soak, which gives you a significant attack boost for the Unveiling Strike of Cloud Step after drinking from your gourd. This gives you even more synergy for Unveiling Strike and is part of why mine hits so hard in the boss footage that you'll see in this. The other reward from him is one of the two main required bits for the first mythical weapon that you can get in the game, the Golden Luang Staff. This requires you to have done the other two waterfall bosses for their weapon first, as it comes after it in the upgrade tree, and it also requires killing the fourth and final of this set of bosses in chapter 4. But we won't be going into that chapter there today, as this is focused on chapter 3. Though we did talk about how to do this specifically for the final unlock in the secret weapons and armor video that went on the channel recently if you really want to know. Aside from that, again from the shrine, head back and left and you will find a celestial jade lotus pill for a large maximum health increase. Then on the front right and front left sides of the turtle itself, there are wooden chests tucked in on the side. The front right one isn't too valuable, but the one on the left gives you refined iron sand for weapon crafting and a mind core for celestial pill crafting too. Moving forward from here, the next stop is the North Shore of Bitter Lake Shrine. The first thing that you want to do here is head immediately to the right and follow the coast along all the way until a sort of field of massive bones in a corner on the coast as well. There will be an interact prompt here on the bones, and one of two things will happen. If you do this before completing the next section of the main story, there will actually be a full-on optional boss here, the Apramana Bat. When you are first on this section of the island, you will have an NPC following you around, helping you out, and he disappears if you get too far into the main story progress past this for the chapter. Once you lose him though, this boss will no longer spawn here. It might be a bug, I don't know, but instead interacting with the bones will just give you a little cutscene of the Turtle Island crying, just a secret either way, I suppose. Back to the North Shore Shrine then, directly back and left of here, into the water a little bit behind the shack, you will see a distant dragon enemy. This is the optional boss boss Chen Luong, a very much old and decrepit dragon, but one with a purpose. Defeat him and he'll end up being your friend, and specifically ask you for medicine. To get the medicine that he needs, you need to visit the Zoo Dog NPC by the Crouching Tiger Temple Cellar Shrine in Chapter 2. This is directly left of the final boss tornado entrance, so talk to the Zoo Dog here by using the literal talk dialogue option and exhaust his dialogue to get the pills that you need. Bring them back to Chen Luong at the North Shore Shrine. Now he will be about 20 feet away from where he was before, but now at the Little Fisherman Shack. The reward for talking to him here and giving them this pill will be teleporting you to the Zodiac Village, which unlocks this as a new hub location. Here you will find all of your earlier in the game crafting NPCs, the Zoo Dog, the monkey who upgrades your gourd, now Chen Luong himself who will plant plants from the seeds that you gather, and a brand new NPC, the Tiger Blacksmith, off in the corner. This is super important for something that is honestly very missable, as the main new function from this is the ability to upgrade your armor. This lets you use armor from like Chapter 1, even say the Sprint set if you really like it, all the way in later sections of the game, simply by upgrading the defense values of it with slightly later game materials. This lets you use armor that you like because of the set bonus, even past when you would otherwise may have needed to stop doing so because the defense value didn't keep up. So honestly, it's just a very super valuable thing to unlock. As if that wasn't enough though, one of the dialogue options with the blacksmith is challenge, and this does what it says on the tin. It unlocks its own reasonably challenging, honestly hidden optional boss fight as reward. If you win this fight, you get the ability to transform into the blacksmith as a new transformation spell, Ebon Flow. This one is one of my personal favorites, large, sweeping, greatsword attacks, the ability to deflect attacks, and the might spending spell is really strong with this too. Back to the North Shore Shrine then. This time we are heading off to the left again, but not backwards. Follow this forwards through the path to the torches, defeat the enemies, and in front of you will be a big building with a friendly NPC cowered at the front of it, a treasure hunter. Interact with them and you will start their quest. If again you don't have the follower NPC with you due to the quest progress, you actually skip this step, as the treasure hunter will just move to his next location, and that's the important non-main path stuff in the Bitter Lake area in general now. Past that we'll be moving on to the Valley of Ecstasy, and this area opens up significantly at the Forest of Felicity Shrine, the second shrine of the area. From here there is only one main path forward, but there is a ton of optional exploration. First things first though, head backwards and turn to face the cliff that you just slid past on your way down here. There's actually a missable path within this rock wall that leads directly to the frog boss of Chapter 3, another optional missable boss. This one uses cold attacks and builds up frost on you. It doesn't reward much for actually killing it, but it is a missable boss, and it is actually part of a long-term achievement to kill all the frog bosses as well. Next up, back to the shrine, and just ahead and forwards on the archway is a corpse that you can talk to, but it isn't the corpse really, it's actually the fox. Talking to this gives you the Snow Fox Brush legendary item, which allows you to turn into the fox at will. This will come up and continue on a fair bit later in the video. After that, back to the shrine, and then take an immediate right and follow this path to a river. Cross the river and follow the path right and upwards to come across an open clearing with an optional missable boss, the non-able. Defeat them and the main reward will be their spirit, with the active attack actually changing and shifting depending on when you use it in your light attack combo, and the passive equip effect being an increase to attack, crit chance, and crit damage at the cost of a pretty hefty maximum mana reduction. If you find yourself not using spells much, this is pretty good. Otherwise, the mana reduction is a bit hefty, and it doesn't really synergize with the other thing that does work with actually boosting your regular attack skills, so it's arguably not great, but this is where you get it. Down the hill from here though, you will find the optional Brook of Bliss shrine as well, which we'll come back to later. Head back to the Forest of Felicity Shrine, and this time we will head left along the main path a little bit, follow through the wooden archways until you reach this spot right here, a fork in the road, where you can turn left and go down a snowy hill for an alternate path, or right to go through the actual archway for the main path. Instead, go down the hill, follow this, and then take it through this new archway at the bottom, follow this along and head straight ahead down to the path and the stairs, and you will find the Towers of Karma Shrine optional area. Right beside this shrine, not far away at all, will be the treasure hunter NPC that we talked to earlier. He's sitting here talking about how he really desperately feels like he needs fire. Use the new spell that you got earlier then in the main story, Ring of Fire, use it right beside him, and a cutscene will play. Interact with him again after this and get all the dialogue options out of him, and you'll be ready for the next stage of his quest. From the Towers of Karma Shrine then, head to the back right section of the area, and you'll see a suspicious flower in the middle of this open space. This is actually one of the flower guais once you go to pick it up, but this one is special, being a full-on optional boss flower guai, the old Ginseng Guai. Defeat him and get the ginseng cape, unique chest piece, decent defense, chill resistance, and a unique effect that gives you a moderate maximum stamina increase after you drink from your gourd. You also get the Millennium Ginseng Seed for use in the Zodiac Village, and then you also can collect the spirit for use as well, summoning Ginsengling followers to help you in combat. This also, as a passive effect, moderately increases the maximum health of all minions, which seemingly also affects the decoy for Cloud Strike and the monkey copies from the A Pluck of Many spell. So definitely a really interesting one for sure. But don't leave the spot quite yet, because directly behind where the boss was is a little interactable very well hidden to let you pick up the Jade Essence drink. This makes your gourd restore 36% maximum health before upgrades, but also makes it give you back mana. This is an absolutely massively important upgrade. It makes any longer boss fight or any level clearing content way easier. It may not be the most healing per drink, but having a source of mana regen is incredibly powerful in a game with spells this strong, so you should definitely consider using this once you got it. With that then, we head back to the Brook of Bliss Shrine, the one that I mentioned earlier after the non-able boss. From here, cross the bridge and head down the path to the right. Follow this to the large pond near the end, and in the back right of this section there are some torches to indicate that you can actually safely fall off of this ledge beside the pond. Do so and follow the path downwards to reach the Melon Field hidden shrine. There is only one thing here. It is a very dead end of an area, but it's quite important, but it also only shows up if you have done the treasure hunter quest steps up to this point that we've been talking about in this. This will then be the green-capped Martialist optional boss fight. Defeat him and he'll sort of Doctor Strange his way out of the area, and after some cutscenes you'll be rewarded with the quite well hidden Spellbinder spell. What this does is relatively abstract compared to the other spells, but it's extremely potent if you use it right. This spell will always cost whatever your entire maximum mana amount is, no matter what it is, so you can only use it when you have full mana. However, if you do, you gain a large attack buff relative to the amount of mana that you consume. So if you have this, you basically just can't do any other spells with it at all, but it raises your attack pretty significantly in return. This also has its own section of the skill tree and can be leaned into for just pure weapon attack focused builds, which is honestly pretty powerful in itself. With that then, we move on to the final part of this area, the Longevity Road Shrine. Back and right from here, if you follow it along, is a fallen large enemy. If you walk up to the hands, you get an interact prompt. Then you can absorb the soul, as this is one of the captains for the prisoner questline from earlier. The next main progress boss directly from the shrine here is the final of the 4 captains. Once you kill them and get your spirit, you can actually finally go back to the lower pagoda shrine and bring them to the rat prisoner in that first cell. With this complete, after talking to him, he will give you the chu-bai spearhead, which is the main component of the chu-bai spear weapon that you should now be able to fully craft at a shrine if you want to. This has 75 attack, which is great for this stage, and it has a unique effect that changes up the light attack combo to be more spear-like, as well as boosting the damage of thrust stance attacks. It's just a super unique and neat secret weapon in the game too. With that then, we move on to the last of the little areas in Chapter 3, which is New Thunderclap Temple, and pretty much everything of note here comes from the temple entrance shrine as the closest place. First, head immediately to the right from the shrine and through the gateway. Follow this path the whole way through and you will come across a big archway. Directly in front of you as you come through here is the Monk from the Sea optional boss. This is a nasty little encounter, honestly, but defeating it will reward you with a brand new transformation spell, Hoarfrost, letting you turn into this boss at will and giving you your first frost damage and frostbane buildup transformation. Then we have another optional boss in this area, the Non-Void. From the temple entrance shrine, you want to head through the first building in front of you, then take the stairway up to the left side behind it. Then on your left through here will be an entrance to another further building, and inside of this you get it up to a higher level, up some stairs. Then you can leave out the back of the second floor of the building to see a large set of stone stairs in front of you leading up to another area. Use the fox brush item that we got way back earlier in the video to turn into a fox, then head up to the top of the stairs and you will hit 2 secrets in one at the same time, as this optional boss also has the quest interaction with the fox transformation. The boss itself then will drop the Non-Void spirit on death, the active effect being basically an iframe dodge, which is pretty cool, and the passive equip effect recovers stamina when you get hit by enemies. Back down these stairs from here then, if you turn right when you are facing the stairs and at the end of the path, guarded by many enemies, you will find a pill that is in a chest to increase your maximum stamina permanently. After that, if you got the fox form cutscene with the Non-Void boss, you want to head back to the fox at the Forest of Felicity Shrine, and you will get the Snow Fox Brush Curio item. This increases the duration of all of your transformation spells, which is a pretty neat thing to have in itself. Then the final secret for the chapter, or I suppose 2 together, this one from the Mahavira Hall Temple Shrine right near the final boss of the chapter. Just head back down these stairs from here and go to your left side here from where you're facing into this big building. This will be one final optional boss, the Non-Pure. Defeat them and you get their spirit once more to add to your collection. This one does a multi-hit strike strike active attack, and the passive equip effect of this is moderate damage reduction after using rock solid as a spell. As well, this unlocks a meditation point for use directly behind the boss, which is just a free spark for your skill tree. And that just about does it for today then, everyone. All of the remaining secrets in chapter 3 from the Pagoda realm all the way to the final boss of the chapter. If you guys still enjoy the series, we'll of course be covering chapter 4 soon as well, so make your voice heard in the comments if you want this. The game has honestly really opened up a lot more through further chapters, but that just means there's even more and more optional, missable, interesting stuff to pick up along the way. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.